Benvenuti scholars, having trouble with tables? This video is for you. My wife and Dr. Berges get together to help you navigate those tables.
Oftentimes, especially in quantitative studies, the outputs from SPSS they're an image, but they're technically a table. And so we're going to go ahead and walk through how to handle those. So I'm up here on my list of tables. I'm going to bounce down to table 3, and we're going to go ahead and scroll down a bit, and we're going to add a table 4. In my table 4, if I had brought in a model summary from SPSS, you can see that it's actually an image. And when I click on it, so if I were a reviewer and I wanted to make it larger, I would click on it and I would instantly realize that it's actually a picture. And so what we need is tables. So I'm going to leave that image in place, and I'm going to walk through how to recreate that image and create a brand new table. So the first thing that we're going to do is start with our table number. So we're on table 4, those 2 soft returns. And now we need our table name. And so our name is model summary. I would style that as table title. There we go. And in APA 7, the table number would be in bold and the name would be in italics. Now I need to use what are called Microsoft table tools. And so I go up to the insert menu, and the second group is the tables group. And if I click on this pull down, it is giving me the option to add a table. And I'm going to look at my image, and I'm going to be able to see how many columns I need. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 6 columns, and I need a header row, and then a row for the information, the data. And so right now that's all I need. And you can see in the insert table tool, it's giving me information and confirming that I have 6 columns and 2 rows. And I'm going to go ahead and leave all of those grid lines in place for right now so that it's really easy for me to see what's going on in each of the cells. Now, this little square here is actually called a cell marker. And so as we are moving through the table and adding information, we want to kind of constrain ourselves that each cell contains a single piece of data. So our first step is to fill in the header row.
And Dr. Berges, when you're finished doing that, would you just hit return so you can show everybody what it looks like with return, and then just how to fix it? Because this is a pretty common issue that comes up.
Absolutely. So for right now, we're going to add in our heading row. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to begin to put in some data. As we are entering data, APA's guideline is that you want to stay consistent with the number of digits beyond the decimal point. And so you notice that in my standard error of estimates, I've got a rather long number. So instead of typing in the 7.266529, I'm going to go ahead and stop at the 100th place. And I'm going to round. And since that one would round to 5, we're going to stop there. If I had another model that was included in my summary, what often happens, and this is what Dr. Markette was explaining, learners press the enter button. And so now, if I were entering information about model number 2, all I would do, this is easy, right? I can just simply press enter. I can go down to the next line, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to duplicate what we've got here just for simplicity's sake. We'll take off that superscript. There we go. And so what happens is it's really easy to press in that enter button and move down what you think is another row. Unfortunately, it's not an actual row in the table. And so when a reviewer comes in and takes a look at it, what they see is they see all of these hard returns that are in the table instead of multiple rows. Now, if you knew a tiny little trick, adding a row to a table is very easy. And what you do is you place your cursor at the final cell marker, so the very far right and the last row, and you press Tab. And by pressing Tab once, right there with your cursor placed at that cell marker, so I'm going to do it again, I've just added rows. And now I can very easily put that information in there. Now, that's easy for me to say because I know that trick. But if I didn't know that trick, and you are now in form and format review, and I have given you feedback that you need to insert another row, here's how you would do that. You can go ahead and either use that trick of pressing Tab, or you can right click and you can go to Insert, and you can say, I want to insert a row above or below. Either one will work. Just depends on where you want to place that information. So I'm going to put a row above. And now what you do is you go ahead and you copy, or in this case, since it's very straightforward, I'm going to go ahead and use the cut feature, and I'm going to put that information up in the top row by simply using the paste feature. So I'm going to cut it and then paste it. And what you can't see is that I'm pressing Control X and Control V on my computer keyboard. And that's what I'm using as my copy paste. I could certainly do it the other way. I could go ahead and select it. And up here on the home menu, I could click on cut. And then I could place my cursor and paste it. And it would have the same results. There are lots of ways to do the same thing in Microsoft Word. So now that I've got my table, and I've got my image here, I can double check that I've got the right information in here. I am going to go ahead before I do some formatting. I'm going to add a note below because my table has a note. And so I'm going to add in what that note is. And I do not want it to go over, so I'm going to undo that. I want it to stay right here at the left margin. And I'm going to type in predictors.
And in this case, you don't use the word note, correct?
In this case, you don't use the word note, and that's an excellent point. Because of the fact that I've got a superscript letter in here, right here under my my R category, my column has that little superscript. All I'm really doing is pointing out and giving a legend to my reader as to where do I find this and what does it mean.
Similar to a footnote.
Exactly. It's very similar to a footnote. Now, if I did have a note, let's go ahead and add a note. So I've just entered another hard return here. So we'll go down. And of course, it wants to auto correct for me. So tell it, no, I really don't want you to do that. So in my note, I would put, now this note is completely unnecessary. This is really just an example. So if you are doing a quantitative study, you do not need to put a note about this is the output from SPSS. It's just the first thing that popped in my head. So the next thing we want to do is change this word note to italics. And then the last thing I'm going to do is change the line spacing here to single spacing. So like I said, lots of different ways to accomplish certain things in Microsoft Word. I could have gone up to the paragraph group. I could have chosen that route. For me, it's easier if I right click.
When are notes required?
If you are wanting to let the reader know that you created an image or you created this model summary. We would also want to note if we are giving credit to someone else. Is this image adapted from something? Is this data pulled from the Department of Education database? Giving credit is really the primary or one of the primary reasons that we would add a note.
A special thanks to Dr. Berges for doing the heavy lifting in this video lesson. And don't forget to check... Rex, stop. Sit. Good boy. And don't forget to check out our other videos that will help you with your form and format. Let me help you get to graduation.